A premium woodworking tool does more than shine on a bench. It removes the moment of doubt that appears just before an important cut. Inside this workshop story are 57 premium woodworking tools that feel worth every dollar. Chosen for builders who want more accuracy, safer control, cleaner finishes, and fewer wasted boards. Careful setups protect wood and strengthen every maker's confidence. Some choices flatten stubborn slabs, guide perfect joinery, control difficult glue-ups, and turn rough measurements into repeatable results. Let us step into the shop and discover which upgrades truly feel worth every dollar. Number 1. BINSTAK Surfacing Router Bit. BINSTAK Surfacing Router Bit gives a router broad reach for flattening wide stock, leveling glued panels, and cleaning uneven surfaces before finer work begins. With a stable sled and patient passes, the demanding preparation becomes a controlled routine. That smoother start saves time, because joinery, sanding, and finishing become easier to judge. For slab workers, the value appears whenever an imperfect board becomes usable material. Number 2. Woodpeckers Precision Tapered Jig. Tapered legs look simple from across the room, yet one small angle error can make a finished table feel strangely unbalanced. Woodpeckers Precision Tapered Jig helps guide stock past a table saw blade at a repeatable angle, giving furniture builders greater control over matching legs and subtle architectural cuts. Once the first leg is dialed in, the remaining pieces can follow the same path with far less guesswork. That consistency is what makes the jig feel premium. It protects expensive lumber while helping an ordinary project gain a cleaner, professionally planned silhouette. Number 3. HPHOPE Forstner Bit Set. There is a noticeable difference between drilling a hole and creating one that actually looks ready for furniture. HPHOPE Forstner Bit Set is made for flat-bottomed recesses, overlapping holes, concealed hinge work, and other tasks where a standard twist bit often leaves a rough or unsuitable result. Clean positioning matters, especially near edges, so the set rewards slower drilling and secure clamping. From cabinet doors to decorative inlays, these bits can turn an ordinary drill press or handheld drill into a more capable tool for precise woodworking details. Number 4. Haiouus Router Edge Guide. A router can cut beautifully, but without a dependable reference, it may wander just enough to spoil a long edge. Haiouus Router Edge Guide gives the tool a controlled path for grooves, dados, rabbets, and parallel trimming when a full router table is unnecessary or unavailable. That extra support becomes especially valuable on cabinet parts where several cuts must align across matching panels. For a relatively compact accessory, it expands what a handheld router can accomplish and reduces the nervous feeling that often accompanies a long freehand pass. Number 5. Rocaris Chamfer Drill Set. Small finishing details often decide whether a project feels handmade in the best way or simply unfinished. Rocaris Chamfer Drill Set helps create countersinks, softened openings, and cleaner screw seating so hardware can sit neatly instead of tearing fibers around the hole. A light, controlled touch can also prepare edges for plugs or remove the sharp rim left after drilling. These are not dramatic workshop tools, yet they earn their cost by improving dozens of visible details that clients, family members, and careful makers notice when a project is viewed up close. Number 6. Router Table Setup Bars Set. Anyone who has repeatedly measured a router bit with a ruler knows how quickly tiny setup errors consume workshop time. Router Table Setup Bars Set provides fixed reference dimensions for setting bit height, fence position, saw depth, and other repeatable adjustments without reading a scale from an awkward angle. They are particularly helpful when returning to a familiar profile after changing cutters between operations. Instead of relying on memory and trial cuts, the woodworker gains a fast setup language that protects material and keeps a multi-step project moving with fewer interruptions. Number 7. Woodpeckers Router Base Plate. Sometimes a router feels limited, not by its motor, but by the small factory base trying to balance over a wide opening. Woodpeckers Router Base Plate creates a broader, more stable platform for edge work template routing, and cuts where additional support can prevent tipping at the worst moment. That confidence matters on expensive parts because a brief wobble can damage an edge that took hours to prepare. For woodworkers who already own a capable router, upgrading the base can feel like improving the entire machine without purchasing another power tool. Number 8. Woodpeckers Router Plane. A joint may look finished from above while hiding one high spot that prevents the pieces from seating properly. Woodpecker's router plane lets the user shave recesses, hinge mortises, dados, and tenon cheeks to a controlled depth after the bulk of the waste has been removed. The tool works quietly and gives immediate feedback through the hands, which makes fine adjustment surprisingly satisfying. For joinery-focused builders, this is the kind of premium hand tool that solves small fit problems with more precision than another aggressive power tool pass. Number 9. GOINGMAKE Track Saw Parallel Guide System. Breaking down sheet goods becomes stressful when two cabinet sides need to match, and the tape measure keeps introducing tiny differences. GOINGMAKE Track Saw Parallel Guide System helps position a track at a consistent offset from the panel edge, supporting repeatable rips across plywood, MDF, and other large materials. That repeatability reduces cumulative error and makes a portable track saw behave more like a dedicated panel processing station. For small shops without room for an industrial table saw, the system can justify its price by delivering accuracy while preserving valuable floor space. Number 10. Thin Rip Jig for Table Saw. Thin Rip Jig for Table Saw moves the reference point outside the blade, letting the fence shift after each cut while preserving a consistent strip width. Narrow offcuts are no longer trapped in the most uncomfortable space beside the blade. The jig suits edge banding, bent laminations, inlay stock, and repeated decorative strips. Its premium value comes from making a common operation safer, more predictable, and less wasteful. The first group established flat surfaces and controlled cuts. Now the story moves into hand saws, machine guidance, and work holding that keeps every operation steady. Number 11. SUIZAN Dozuki Dovetail Saw. The first pull of a Japanese saw often surprises woodworkers who are used to forcing a heavier Western blade through the cut. SUIZAN Dozuki Dovetail Saw uses a thin pull-cutting blade and rigid spine to support controlled joinery work, especially dovetails, small tenons, and precise shoulder lines. The narrow kerf also removes less material, leaving more room for careful fitting at the bench. For anyone learning hand-cut joinery, this saw can make the process feel less like wrestling with wood and more like following a clearly drawn line. Number 12. RUITOOL Japanese Hand Saw. A bulky power saw is not always the fastest answer when one shelf, dowel, or protruding joint needs a clean adjustment. RUITOOL Japanese Hand Saw offers a portable pull-cutting option for cross-cuts, rip work, flush trimming, and quick corrections that would be awkward on a stationary machine. The tool is quiet enough for apartment workshops and convenient enough to keep beside the bench rather than buried in a cabinet. That combination of speed, reach, and low setup time makes it feel valuable long after the novelty of a new hand saw disappears. Number 13. POWERTEC Universal Featherboard Set. A board that lifts or drifts during a cut can ruin accuracy before the operator has time to correct it. POWERTEC Universal Featherboard Set applies steady side or downward pressure as stock moves past a router bit or saw blade, helping the work remain against the fence and table. Using two featherboards can support longer parts or control both directions during demanding profiles. They may not be the most glamorous accessories in the shop, but the improved consistency and added layer of safety make them worthy companions for repeated machine work. Number 14. Kreg Precision Band Saw Fence. Many band saws arrive ready to cut curves, yet resawing straight boards exposes how much a dependable fence matters. Kreg Precision Band Saw Fence provides an adjustable reference for ripping, veneer cutting, and repeatable straight work while allowing the user to compensate for the blade's natural drift. It also makes recurring widths easier to reproduce when preparing several components for one build. For a band saw that already has sufficient power, this upgrade can unlock a more accurate side of the machine and postpone the need for a larger larger replacement. Number 15. WORKPRO Corded Jigsaw Kit. Curved cuts have a way of appearing halfway through a project, often when the larger saws cannot reach the marked line. WORKPRO Corded Jigsaw Kit gives the workshop a flexible cutting option for arcs, interior openings, notches, and quick sheet material work without depending on battery charge. A stable shoe and deliberate feed help the blade remain closer to square, especially through thicker boards. For occasional furniture shapes, sink openings, and repair work, the kit offers useful versatility at the exact moment a straight cutting machine reaches its limit. Number 16. Woodpeckers Auxiliary Rip Fence. The factory fence may guide a board accurately while still offering too little height or support for an unusual operation. Woodpeckers Auxiliary Rip Fence adds a larger working face for vertical panels, sacrificial setups, rabbets, edge profiling, and other cuts where the stock deserves a broader reference surface. That freedom makes specialized setups easier to build and repeat without permanent modification. For woodworkers who expect one table saw to handle furniture, cabinetry, and shop-made jigs, the added flexibility can feel more valuable than a collection of improvised boards and clamps. Number 17. INKLEIND Blade Square Tool. A blade that looks square can still leave a gap large enough to complicate every glue-up that follows. INKLEIND Blade Square Tool gives the user a direct reference for checking table saw blades, miter saw alignment, fences, and related machine surfaces before committing material to the cut. A quick alignment check can reveal problems caused by transport, blade changes, or normal vibration. This small tool pays for itself quietly by catching an inaccurate setup before it multiplies across an entire batch of cabinet parts. Number 18. Portable Hardwood Workbench Vise. Not every workspace has a traditional bench, but every hand tool task eventually needs the wood to stop moving. Portable Hardwood Workbench Vise brings clamping support to a table, job site, or compact shop, holding boards for sawing, planing, carving, and careful fitting. Because the vise can travel, a temporary work surface becomes far more capable without permanent construction. For renters, beginners, and mobile makers, the ability to create a stable bench wherever one is available can be worth more than another tool that only works in a fixed shop. Number 19. Rockler Parallel Panel Clamp. A tabletop glue-up begins calmly, then turns chaotic when boards slide, bow, and refuse to stay in the same plane. Rockler Parallel Panel Clamps apply strong, evenly distributed pressure, while their broad jaws help keep cabinet cases, doors, and panels closer to square during assembly. Good clamps cannot repair poor joint preparation, but they make accurate parts much easier to bring together without a fight. For furniture builders, few purchases feel more justified than clamps that reduce glue-up stress and produce flatter results, project after project. Number 20. Pony Jorgensen Adjustable Band Clamp. Picture frames, boxes, and irregular assemblies rarely cooperate with ordinary clamps placed one corner at a time. Pony Jorgensen Adjustable Band Clamp wraps pressure around the entire project, drawing multiple joints inward, while corner blocks help distribute the force more evenly. With all corners engaged together, the maker has a better chance to check diagonals and adjust alignment before the glue begins to set. That calmer assembly window makes the clamp feel like a problem-solving partner rather than another piece of hardware hanging on the wall. With accurate cutting under control, the next tools focus on clamping, bench support, sharpening, and the patient handwork that gives furniture its character. Number 21. Precision Aluminum Corner Clamp Set. Precision Aluminum Corner Clamp Set holds mating pieces near 90 degrees during fastening, drilling, or glue-up, providing temporary hands where alignment matters. Rigid aluminum bodies offer a clear reference while leaving access for screws and additional clamps. Several units can support a cabinet carcass, drawer, frame, or shelving assembly at once. For solo builders, awkward balancing becomes a measured process that can be checked before anything turns permanent. Number 22. Pony Pro Heavy-Duty Pipe Clamp Set. Large furniture projects have a habit of asking for more clamping reach than the shop currently owns. Pony Pro Heavy-Duty Pipe Clamp Set uses standard pipe as the bar, allowing woodworkers to choose lengths suited to tabletops, benches, cabinets, and other wide assemblies. Pipe clamps are heavier than many alternatives, yet that weight often feels reassuring when thick hardwood parts need to close tightly. For builders moving into larger work, the set offers dependable strength without forcing every clamp purchase into one permanently fixed size. Number 23. Milescraft TriGrips Work Grippers. Sanding a small panel often starts with one hand chasing the workpiece, while the other tries to control the tool. Milescraft TriGrips Work Grippers raise and stabilize material through high-friction contact, supporting routing, painting, finishing, assembly, and surface preparation without traditional clamps blocking the edges. They are especially convenient when both faces need attention or when a project must be lifted away from a wet finish. The grippers feel worth buying because they remove tiny daily frustrations that otherwise repeat across almost every stage of woodworking. Number 24. BGASNW Bench Dog Pucks. A workbench becomes far more useful when its holes can hold something more adaptable than a single fixed stop. BGASNW Bench Dog Pucks fit into compatible dog holes to support panels, create low-profile stops, and keep material from sliding during sanding, routing, or light assembly. Because the work sits slightly above the bench, edges become easier to reach, and dust has somewhere to escape. For shops built around multifunction tables, a handful of simple pucks can transform an empty surface into a flexible work-holding system within seconds. Number 25. Heavy-duty spring clamp set. The clamp you reach for most often is usually the one that can be placed before the other hand starts losing control. Heavy-duty spring clamp set delivers fast one-handed pressure for holding template, securing stops, managing cords, positioning trim, and completing dozens of temporary workshop tasks. They are not replacements for precision parallel clamps, but speed is their advantage when the job only needs reliable short-term holding. A good collection earns its price through frequency, becoming the background support behind projects that would otherwise require awkward improvisation. Number 26. Rack Magnetic Wristband for Tools. A dropped screw always seems to land beneath the bench just when the cabinet door is finally aligned. Rack Magnetic Wristband for Tools keeps small metal fasteners, driver bits, drill accessories, and selected hand tools close to the wrist during installation or assembly. It does not replace organized hardware bins, but it reduces repeated trips and prevents loose pieces from disappearing into sawdust. For hardware-heavy projects, the convenience feels surprisingly premium because the workflow stays focused instead of constantly breaking for one missing screw. Number 27. Chisel Sharpening Honing Guide Tool Set. A dull chisel makes hardwood feel stubborn, while a properly sharpened edge can make the same cut feel almost effortless. Chisel Sharpening Honing Guide Tool Set holds blades at a repeatable angle against stones or abrasive media, helping users develop a consistent bevel without relying entirely on practiced muscle memory. Careful progression through grits can produce cleaner paring cuts and reduce the force needed at the bench. For anyone investing in quality chisel, a reliable sharpening routine protects that investment and improves every joint those tools touch. Number 28. Adjustable Spoke Shave and Wood Rasp Set. Curved wood comes alive through small corrections, not one dramatic cut from a machine. Adjustable Spoke Shave and Wood Rasp Set gives the maker both controlled shaving and more aggressive shaping options for handles, chair parts, rounded edges, sculpted forms, and repair work. Together they create a progression from bulk shaping toward refined hand tool feedback. For woodworkers curious about curves, the set feels valuable because it opens a tactile style of making that straight fences and flat tables cannot easily provide. Number 29. Jorgensen Mini Wood Planer. Sometimes a full bench plane is too large for the corner, end grain, or small component that needs attention. Jorgensen Mini Wood Planer offers a compact way to trim proud edges, ease corners, level plugs, and make quick fitting adjustments without carrying a heavy tool across the project. A sharp blade and shallow setting are essential because small planes reward finesse more than force. Kept within reach, this miniature tool can become the quiet problem solver that saves repeated trips to a sander rounder or larger machine. Number 30. HPHOPE Chamfer Plane Tool. A crisp tabletop edge may look elegant, but one accidental bump can remind everyone how unforgiving it feels. HPHOPE Chamfer Plane Tool creates a controlled bevel along board edges, helping soften corners, establish decorative lines, and prepare pieces for comfortable handling. By taking light passes, the user can decide whether the result should be barely noticeable or visually pronounced. For shelves, boxes, cutting boards, and furniture parts, the tool adds a finished detail quickly while preserving the satisfying character of a hand-cut edge. The bench is now prepared for shaping and detail work. Ahead are carving tools, surface machines, and larger systems that turn ambitious material into manageable projects. Number 31. Woodpeckers Carbide Scraper Tool. Glue squeeze-out and stubborn finish rarely disappear politely once they have hardened on a carefully prepared surface. Woodpeckers Carbide Scraper Tool uses a durable cutting edge to remove dried adhesive, level isolated defects, and refine areas where sanding might spread residue or round nearby details. Carbide holds an edge longer than many ordinary scraper materials, making maintenance less frequent. For restoration, glue-up cleanup, and final surface correction, the tool earns its place by rescuing work that would otherwise demand slower and less precise methods. Number 32. Beavercraft Wood Carving Kit. A plain block of wood can become a spoon, figure, ornament, or gift once the first confident cut is made. Beavercraft Wood Carving Kit brings together carving knives and supporting accessories for beginners who want a coordinated starting point, rather than a drawer of mismatched blades. The process is quiet, portable, and deeply hands-on, making it a welcome contrast to machine-heavy shop time. For someone testing a new creative direction, the kit feels worth the money because it can begin producing meaningful objects on the very first piece of suitable wood. Number 33. Ilaraberry Draw Knife Set. Green wood, rustic beams, and handmade handles often begin beneath a layer of bark that machines are not eager to meet. A Ilaraberry Draw Knife Set gives the user pulling tools for peeling, shaving, and shaping stock, while controlling how aggressively material is removed. Different blade sizes support both broad removal and more focused work on smaller components. For chair making, spoon blanks, timber projects, or traditional craft, the set offers a powerful hand tool experience that connects the maker closely to the structure of the wood. Number 34. DecoPro Random Orbital Sander. The final sanding stage can either reveal careful craftsmanship or expose every shortcut taken before the finish arrives. DecoPro Random Orbital Sander combines rotating and oscillating motion to level surfaces while reducing the obvious scratch patterns that a simple circular action can leave behind. A comfortable grip matters during longer sessions because fatigue quickly leads to uneven pressure. For a workshop that finishes regular projects, a dependable sander earns every dollar by influencing the look and feel of nearly every completed piece. Number 35. Nekomaku Edge Banding Trimmer. A freshly applied edge strip can make plywood look refined, but the overhang must disappear without damaging the veneer beneath it. Nekomaku Edge Banding Trimmer guides a cutting edge along the panel to remove excess material from one or both sides more consistently than a loose utility knife. Light passes help avoid tearing across difficult grain or brittle banding. For anyone building modern plywood furniture, the trimmer turns a repetitive finishing task into a faster step and helps inexpensive sheet goods achieve a cleaner furniture-grade appearance. Number 36. Mimith Mini Table Saw. Tiny craft pieces can feel lost on a full-size saw designed for boards several times larger than the entire project. Mimith Mini Table Saw creates a compact cutting station for models, small strips, thin stock, and detailed hobby work where portability and controlled scale matter more than industrial capacity. Careful setup and appropriate material limits remain essential because compact machines still demand respect. For specialized craft work, The value comes from avoiding oversized setups and making repeatable small cuts in a space where a conventional table saw would be impractical. Number 37. Woodpeckers Slab Flattening Mill. A beautiful live-edge slab can spend years waiting in the shop because no ordinary planer is wide enough to make it flat. Woodpeckers Slab Flattening Mill supports a router over a large workpiece, creating guided travel across both axes so high areas can be removed in an organized sequence. Once the system is set up carefully, oversized tables and benches become realistic projects rather than outside machining jobs. For serious slab builders, the mill feels expensive only until one saved piece of premium lumber or one completed commission begins paying the investment back. Number 38. Cordless Brushless Oscillating Multitool. Renovation work rarely presents a perfect cutting angle, especially when trim, flooring, or an old fastener blocks the path. Cordless Brushless Oscillating Multitool reaches into tight areas for plunge cuts, flush trimming, scraping, sanding, and material removal without dragging a cord through the workspace. A brushless drive can support efficient power delivery and reduced maintenance compared with older motor designs. From fitting cabinets against walls to correcting a mistake inside an assembly, the tool earns value by solving jobs that otherwise require awkward handwork. Number 39. Metabo HPT Meter Saw. A longboard becomes part of a project only after the first square, trustworthy cut establishes its length. Metabo HPT Meter Saw gives builders a dedicated station for crosscuts, miters, trim work, framing pieces, and repeated parts that need consistent end angle. Supporting longer stock on both sides improves accuracy and keeps the cut comfortable. For furniture, renovation, and workshop construction, a reliable miter saw feels worth its cost because it handles one of the most repeated operations in woodworking with speed and confidence. Number 40. Kreg Rebel Pocket Joiner. Kreg Rebel Pocket Joiner brings pocket hole drilling directly to large or awkward workpieces that cannot travel easily to a bench-mounted jig. Repairs, built-ins, frames, and practical assemblies gain fast concealed screw joinery with a repeatable drilling angle. Pocket holes are not meant for every fine furniture joint, but they excel when speed and access matter. On installation days, that flexibility often saves more time than a beautiful tool that never leaves the bench. Power and portability have carried the build forward, but the final result still depends on reading angles, transferring shapes, and marking every critical location correctly. Number 41. Woodpeckers Auto Drill Guide. A handheld drill feels wonderfully free until one slightly tilted hole causes hardware, dowels, or fasteners to meet at the wrong angle. Woodpeckers Auto Drill Guide adds a controlled reference for drilling square or repeatable angled holes on panels, edges, and large workpieces that cannot fit beneath a drill press. Depth control and stable registration can make repeated holes much more consistent across an assembly. For builders who value drill press accuracy but often work beyond the drill press table, this accessory closes an important gap in the workshop. Number 42. Mighty Framing Nailer Gun. Mighty Framing Nailer Gun drives suitable fasteners quickly for frames, crates, workshop structures, and jobs where production speed matters more than invisible joinery. Consistent fastening lets the operator focus on alignment and sequence instead of swinging a hammer in confined positions. Correct nails, a compatible power source, and disciplined safety practices remain essential throughout the work. For repeated structural builds, reduced fatigue and faster assembly make the investment easy to understand. Number 43. Toolin Multi-Blade Saw. One demolition cut may pass through wood, plastic, and an unexpected fastener before the job finally releases its grip. Toolin Multi-Blade Saw is designed around adaptable cutting options, giving users a compact solution for varied materials, repair tasks, and awkward workshop cuts, where changing machines would slow the work. The tool is especially helpful for maintenance and rough fitting outside a perfectly staged furniture shop. Its premium feeling comes from readiness. When an unusual cut appears, the maker already has a practical path forward, instead of improvising with the wrong saw. Number 44. ZYJOYY Folding Saw Horses. Large projects often begin before the workbench is ready, with plywood balanced on buckets and long boards searching for somewhere safe to rest. ZYJOYY Folding Saw Horses create a portable support base for cutting, assembly, painting, and temporary job site tables, then fold down when floor space is needed again. Their usefulness extends beyond woodworking into home repairs and outdoor projects. For a compact shop, the ability to create sturdy workspace in minutes and remove it just as quickly can feel more valuable than permanent furniture. Number 45. TBVHOMM Digital Angle Finder. A miter can be off by only a fraction and still open into an obvious gap when two long pieces finally meet. TBVHOMM Digital Angle Finder measures or transfers angles for saw setup, trim work, bevels, and machine calibration, replacing visual estimates with a clear numerical reference. It is particularly useful in older rooms where walls rarely meet at perfect textbook angles. For cabinetry and finish carpentry, the tool earns its value by converting awkward geometry into information that can be checked before expensive molding reaches the blade. Number 46. Sacker Multifunction Scribing Tool. The wall looks straight until a cabinet, countertop, or shelf is pushed against it, and every hidden wave suddenly becomes visible. Sacker Multifunction Scribing Tool transfers irregular contours onto the workpiece, helping the user mark material for a closer fit against walls, floors, trim, pipes, and uneven surfaces. A clear scribe reduces repeated trips between the installation area and the cutting station. For built-ins and renovation work, this marking tool feels worth far more than its size, because a tight fit can make the entire installation look custom. Number 47. Amazon Basics Contour Gauge Set. An unusual molding profile can stop a flooring or trim project because ordinary rulers only understand straight line. Amazon Basics Contour Gauge Set presses against pipes, corners, curves, and existing shapes, so the pins capture a physical outline that can be transferred onto the new material. The method is faster than building several paper templates and easier to repeat when similar cuts appear around a room. For installers, DIY renovators, and furniture makers fitting around existing details, the set saves material by making the first marked cut much closer to the final shape. Number 48. Tool-Cool Table Saw Height and Router Depth Gauge. The difference between a perfect groove and a loose joint may be hidden in a setup change smaller than the eye can judge. Tool-Cool Table Saw Height and Router Depth Gauge provides a direct reference for setting blade exposure, router bit height, and related machine dimensions before the test piece reaches the cutter. Repeatable measurements also help when documenting favorite setups for future builds. For precision-minded shops, this compact tool earns its price by turning vague machine positions into controlled numbers that can be verified. Number 49. Milescraft Center Finder Tool. Finding the exact center of a board sounds easy until the stock is narrow, irregular, or already part of a larger assembly. Milescraft Center Finder Tool places equal references against both edges and marks the midpoint without requiring arithmetic or repeated tape measure adjustments. Fast, reliable layout keeps the pencil moving and reduces small measuring mistakes before drilling begins. For jigs, joinery, turning blanks, and cabinet hardware, this inexpensive guide feels premium because it replaces a surprisingly repetitive calculation with one confident motion. Number 50. NIKPRO Mechanical Carpenter Pencil Set. A workshop pencil lives a difficult life, rolling beneath machines, breaking at the tip, and becoming too blunt for accurate layout. NIKPRO Mechanical Carpenter Pencil Set uses replaceable leads and a controlled body to keep marking lines more consistent across rough lumber, sheet goods, and detailed measuring tasks. The thicker design is easier to grip with dusty hands than a fragile office pencil. Because every project begins with marks, a dependable pencil set can feel worth its cost long before more expensive tools are switched on. Only 7 tools remain, and each one protects the last stages of a project where a small layout error can become the most visible mistake in the room. Number 51. Woodpecker's Edge Rule 6-inch Woodworking Ruler. A normal ruler can slide across an edge just as the pencil reaches the measurement that matters most. Woodpecker's Edge Rule 6-inch Woodworking Ruler wraps around the workpiece, giving the user reference marks on the face and edge for faster layout of lines, offsets, and small joinery details. Clear graduations help reduce the hesitation that comes from reading worn or crowded scales. For makers who enjoy precise layout, this little ruler earns affection by making frequent measurements feel easier, steadier, and more intentional. Number 52. Preciva Woodworking Combination Square. One trusted square can follow a project from rough stock to final assembly, checking each step before errors have time to grow. Preciva Woodworking Combination Square supports 90-degree and 45-degree layout, depth checks, short measurements, and machine setup through an adjustable head riding along the rule. A square only earns trust when it locks firmly and reads consistently, so routine verification remains important. For a developing shop, this versatile measuring tool can replace several improvised methods and become one of the first items reached for every day. Number 53. RUITOOL Woodworking Marking Knife. Pencil lines are convenient, but a sharp knife line tells a chisel exactly where the fibers should stop. RUITOOL Woodworking Marking Knife scores crisp references for dovetails, tenons, hinges, and other joinery where accuracy depends on a clean boundary rather than a wide graphite mark. A shallow score also reduces surface tearing when waste is removed from the correct side. For hand tool joinery, the knife feels worth every dollar because it improves both the layout and the physical behavior of the cut that follows. Number 54. Kreg Pocket Hole Jig 320 with face clamp. A weekend project often stalls, not because the design is difficult, but because holding two boards together while drilling feels impossible. Kreg Pocket Hole Jig 320 with face clamp creates repeatable angled holes and keeps parts aligned for fast screw-based joinery in frames, shelves, repairs, and compact furniture. Clear material thickness settings reduce the uncertainty that beginners experience with hidden fasteners. For practical woodworking, the system earns its reputation by helping a pile of cut pieces become a strong, usable project within one afternoon. Number 55. All-in-one door hinge and lock installation jig. A replacement door can look perfect until the hinge sits a few millimeters high and the latch refuses to meet the strike plate. All-in-one door, hinge, and lock installation. Jig guides routing or drilling locations for common door hardware, helping installers reproduce clean recesses and aligned openings without laying out every dimension by hand. Careful measurement is still essential because existing frames may carry their own history. For renovation work, the jig feels premium when a difficult hardware job becomes a controlled sequence instead of a collection of risky, freehand cuts. Number 56. GOINGMAKE Adjustable Dowel Jig Kit. GOINGMAKE Adjustable Dowel Jig Kit guides drilling at consistent spacing for edge-to-edge, edge-to-face, and selected corner connections. Adjustability helps center the jig on different stock thicknesses, while bushings control the bit path. Accurate registration produces joints that meet with less force and require fewer oversized corrections. The kit offers a satisfying middle ground between uncertain freehand drilling and an expensive dedicated machine. Number 57. A1's Cabinet Hardware Jig. The cabinet is finished, the paint is cured, and one crooked handle can still become the only detail anyone notices. A1's Cabinet Hardware Jig provides adjustable guides for locating knob and pull holes across doors and drawer fronts, making repeated hardware placement faster and more consistent. The jig also helps preserve symmetry when several handle lengths appear within the same kitchen or furniture project. For installers and DIY remodelers, this final tool feels worth every dollar because it protects the most visible step of an otherwise completed job. From flattening raw slabs and guiding delicate joinery to controlling glue-ups, shaping curves, installing doors, and aligning cabinet hardware, these 57 premium woodworking tools that feel worth every dollar show how the right upgrade can change both the result and the experience of building it. Which tool would earn the first permanent place in your workshop? Share your choice in the comments, subscribe for for more premium Amazon tool collections, and we will meet again at the next workbench.